Hi, I'm Carlene, and this is Diva Tonight. And I am doing something a little different with the series here. This is 40, a female perspective. And we're talking to women who have expertise in various areas. And tonight is interesting because I have with me on Zoom Amita Sharma. She is a holistic wellness champion and advocate. She also has a program that she does to help women who are dealing with perimenopause, menopause, and various other health concerns. Like, our health is very important. And she's also the co-founder of Nourish Doc, a holistic wellness platform dedicated to empowering women and advocating for women in various channels, I guess. Hi, Amita.
Hi, how are you, Carlene? I really appreciate the work that you're doing and appreciate that, we are going to talk to not menopausal women, which are necessarily generally in 50s, but younger women so that they are prepared, right?
Yeah. I think it's important to be prepared because you have no idea what your body is going to do, how it's going to change. Like me personally, 40 has been great, but I've seen my doctor more than I want to say. I've had so many visits, right? You know what I mean? And changing my diet, and it is a change. And there are certain things that you can do with your diet and your lifestyle. But I think there's other things that are hereditary that you can't control. But I think the one thing that's amazing that you do is that I guess you have a wellness program and you help other individuals that are maybe suffering, right? So to start things off, what is perimenopause and menopause?
Yeah, a lot of us are confused about these two terms, right? Because as women, we don't understand. And the perimenopause are the years transitioning into menopause. Menopause is when our menstrual cycle is done. You are technically in menopause if you haven't had your periods for 12 consecutive months. That's the definition of menopause. And then rest of your life, you're in menopause. Now, the perimenopause starts typically age 40 or even earlier, 35 plus. It can last up to 10 years, believe it or not. And there are over 48 symptoms associated with this whole thing. Can you imagine? So no wonder you're feeling, whatever you're feeling, because more than likely your hormones have started fluctuating.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm anemic, so that doesn't help. Anemia is really bad when you have your periods too, you know what I mean? And so it's just been always trying to balance everything out when I already have, what do you call it? An autoimmune deficiency or whatever they say in medical terms, right? Which doesn't help my situation. But like you said, 10 years. And so what are the symptoms? I know a lot of symptoms are similar, but are there different symptoms in perimenopause?
You mean from menopause?
Yeah.
Some are similar for sure, but menopausal woman is a bit older, right? She's in her 50s, and perimenopausal, like I said earlier, could be 35 plus or typically 40 something, but that's when your body is going to start changing. Your hormone fluctuations start changing. So you're going to have like hot flashes, anxiety, some of the common symptoms, brain fog. You can't remember suddenly things. They said, oh, what did I say? And then suddenly your memory, you feel like your memory lapses a little bit. Then sleep at night could be a problem. You start getting bloating most of the time. So these kind of things start happening. And there are so many other. Now, menopausal women have something else to worry about because 80% of the women in the United States over the age of 55, which are obviously menopausal, most of I'm assuming because of the age, they have one chronic condition. So they have to worry more about, they don't get into any chronic conditions like diabetes, like osteoporosis, like heart health, right? Like even cancer, even dementia. It becomes more of a health kind of an issue, right? And of course, there's the hair thinning and skin and weight, all those things, anxiety, all those things, and relationships, even loss of libido, that's another one of the symptoms. Yeah. So I don't know what happens when, it's different for every woman, but like you were saying, a lot of things you can do with dietary and lifestyle modifications, but the way our genes are, the way the culture we are coming from, it depends a lot on the lifestyle we've had, even the lifestyle our moms have led. All that can contribute to the journey of how we are going to go through the perimenopause as well.
In terms of your clients that you work with, other than perimenopause, there's other ailments that women deal with on top of it, like fibroids, endometriosis, that can make menopause even more painful. So what is it exactly that you do as a holistic practitioner for someone who does not know what that is?
Yeah, so our app platform is all about first self-care using holistic therapies, so meaning naturopathic, nature driven, right? So what we are trying to do is we are trying to help you through the journey of going through this midlife, whatever, using dietary, lifestyle, and some holistic therapies. For example, like naturopathy, like CBT, like hypnotherapy, like aromatherapy, like Ayurvedic therapy, like massage therapy, like acupuncture, acupressure, yoga, breath work, meditation, diet, right? Food as medicine, herbs and supplements, right? So I'm counting. There are over 50, right? 15 or 20 different therapies that we have incorporated all these things into simple self-care program that women can take as a first step, right? Now, if some women, let's say hypothetically, is suffering from fibroids or endometriosis, then our program alone is probably not sufficient, is what I'm trying to say. You need an expert intervention along with that, right? This program is for generally woman who doesn't have these conditions, and she started these perimenopausal hormonal fluctuations and having all these symptoms and doesn't know what to do, then okay, the first step is, okay, let me just try to understand how can I change my diet? How can I change my lifestyle? How can I do that? So, but as soon as you put, hey, I have fibroids or whatever, then we have vetted and curated experts who can help you based on your personal needs, right? So that's kind of how it's structured, because the reason is we wanted to make it very affordable for every single woman in the world. The self that was the way we have done it, and this was the only way we could have done it. So the self-care is going to be priced like $5. It's going to be super, super cheap. And then, of course, we know how much a naturopathic doctor charges, or, that's not our, we don't control that. That's how much they charge. That's kind of the one-on-one consultation or a group coaching, right? So that's kind of how this whole thing is structured.
I understand that. So I guess it's your company, what you're doing is going in the digital era, because we are in a digital era, a time of transformation, and pretty much what your program does is it helps women who are looking to change the way that they eat. You know what I mean? Maybe the diet. Because even though you see a doctor, once you figure out what's wrong from your doctor, then you can look at other ways in which you can help yourself if you're dealing with perimenopause, because it's not something that's fun. You know what I mean? Having the hot flashes, always being hot, having problems sleeping, you know what I mean? Sleep is the most important thing in daily life. And I can say for myself, when I have problems sleeping, it's not fun. So based on your background, you mentioned that you're in San Francisco, and obviously the weather's a lot warmer there than here in Canada. So I guess what I'm trying to say is you offer a service for anyone, anywhere. It's not limited because it's not an office. It's all online. And so what pushed you to create this platform?
Well, my journey, I would say that, I went through the entire perimenopause journey in silence. I never, kind of expressed that I'm having these problems. I never reached out for help. I was so kind of scared is the word at workplace that I would be judged as maybe age discrimination. Maybe I can't do my work properly if I express that I'm going through all these symptoms. I mean, I'm talking about a decade back. Look, right?
But you know what? A decade ago, Amita, it's
Yeah,
still a struggle now for women. Like we can't,
yeah.
taking time off work, we have to be so mindful of that.
Yeah.
So even
Yeah,
now,
even now it's the
yeah.
same thing. It's like, I'm a Gen X, and at that, about a decade back, nobody even had heard of the word perimenopause,
Right.
menopause, and
Yeah.
can you imagine going into HR and saying, "Oh, by the way, we were lucky in our generation that we were getting some time off when we had babies or kids, and even that was considered like, oh, are you taking 6 weeks off?" So it was very different a decade back, 10 years back. So I just kept suffering and suffering, and suddenly in the last 2 3 years, I somehow I got an opportunity after COVID to I wanted to always create something that has a meaningful impact for younger women who are coming behind me, and this is something I felt very passionate about, and I felt like I never spoke up, and this is the opportunity for me. I'm wiser. I can help so many other women who are behind me who are going to enter this space. And why not go deeper into it and start talking about it, right? And that's kind of how it started. And I personally had a lot of issues. And I honestly didn't even know that this is all perimenopause, because even the doctors are not taught about perimenopause. OBGYN told me, and they never told me that you're going through this hormonal fluctuation. I wish I had known about it. I just started experimenting on myself, research experiment, fail, success, going through this whole roller coaster. And finally, I figured out a way that I'm able to maintain my metabolism and maintain my whatever
Yeah.
mental mind body connection and balance, so to speak.
Yeah.
It was a lot of trial and error.
It is. And you know how you said you're suffering in silence? A lot of women suffer in silence, and we ignore the warning signs. We ignore certain things that our bodies are changing. And even for me, like, I think I can relate to you, not with not with menopause, but with my own issue when I ended up in the hospital too. And like, you're speaking for other women, and that's what pushes you. And I think that's what pushes me too, because I want other women to advocate for themselves, because sometimes, even if you're not silent, your family doesn't educate you. Like my mom didn't tell me about certain things, because she's part of your generation. She made me, what's it called? Like your parents always make you eat certain foods. And I never understood, why am I eating? Why do I have to eat spinach? Why do I have to do all this? You know what I mean? And obviously it's to help my anemia, you know what I mean? But like when I had my own health scare, I had no idea that this was something that was hereditary until after, when it's like, so you creating something like this for other women, especially women all over, like anyone who has access to the internet can go online on the website and look at courses or find a mentor or something, right? So basically, tell me, you said that it's 3,000, you have 3,000 experts along those lines, like you were saying earlier, right?
Yeah, I interviewed over 3,000 plus holistic experts from all over the world, and I went deep into this topic to understand this topic, research and everything. And the programs we have are simple, digestible information that we want to give, which is pretty interactive for the women. And I specifically wanted to include younger women. The reason is, as I said, I think by the time you're 50 years old, like me, it's too late. If you're over 50, it's too late. What you need to do is you really need to come here when the woman is about 35 plus. And that's what I really wanted to capture, those women, because we know almost everyone is working. They're all digitally savvy, and they're the ones who are going to suffer until they hit, the 50 button, right? So that was where we went back and said, we want to create something for women who are entering perimenopause or going to enter perimenopause. The menopause part, like I said, it gets too late, but because now you're worried about, hopefully I don't have a chronic condition, right? It's a different phase of life.
Diva Tonight. Glamour for your ears. This is 40, a female perspective.
So you brought that up, which is really important. So if you catch it early on, like, I mean, okay, so how do you prepare for menopause? Or like, what would you say to someone like me who's in their early 40s, like to prepare yourself so that it doesn't hit you like a ton of bricks, you know?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. 40 is when I got my perimenopause. If you're in your early 40s, you're definitely going to start entering, or maybe you have entered perimenopause already, because menopause is 51, 52. That's what menopause age is. Very normal. I'm talking about the normal. But menopause is also different as per the culture. A lot of us, we don't understand that. As for the cultural and the ethnic backgrounds, also the journey of for you might be different than another woman who's from a different culture, is what I'm saying.
Right. So yeah, I'm from Grenada originally, but I've been living here in Canada for over 30 years. And I guess when you say ethnic background, it means like how did my aunt feel when she was going through it? Because she said she already went through all that, but her symptoms may be similar to what I get, because I mean, it's all in your family history too, in some cases, right? Or you said cultural, ethnic background.
Cultural. What I mean is by Latino American women. I mean, this is North American, includes Canada as well. Yeah. And even Black American women, they generally get menopause at an earlier age, like 47, 48. And Caucasian women are getting around normal, 51, 52. And then Indian women, I originally come from India, but I didn't get menopause at 46. But most of them in India are getting in their mid 40s, which is pretty scary, which is not good. That's what I mean.
You think it's the climate or the food that, I mean, like you say cultural. So is it the food that they're eating? Like what is life different?
I think it's a lot of things. So Latino American and African American women majority of the time, not that I'm putting everyone in the stereotype, are having more processed food, right? More processed food. So if you're not eating on time or having more processed food, all those things, and the obesity factors are higher, more prevalent in these two communities. So those are some of the factors. Now, in Indian women, is the lifestyle, the very sedentary lifestyle. Typically this age women, 40 something, 50 something, don't work. They're quite working. They are generally home. They're taking care of the kids. Even in today's day and age, majority of them, and they lead a very sedentary lifestyle, not very active lifestyle. And also the culture of generally women being subservient. Not now, the things have changed, of course, all over the world, but I'm talking about a decade back, 10 years back, right? My generation of 50 something women are not working, in a lot of places in the world, is what I'm saying. So it's a lot of culturals being subservient, being not active physically, sedentary lifestyle, not eating properly at the right times, all those things contribute. It's not just one thing. And of course, environmental too. There's more pollution and toxins in the environment, that could be endocrine disruptors and that are not good for women's bodies as well, right? So this is a multitude. It's very complicated. It's very difficult to understand. But overall, what the research has been done, that's what the research, I'm sharing the research that
which is important.
Which is important. They've taken a subset of not everyone in those countries.
Yeah, but you said, I mean, I did a little bit of my research too. And in Canada, they say the average age for menopause is, like you said, 52. But that's average, right? And so you were talking about African American women, Latino women, which is a culture where even here in North America, a lot of highly processed foods. But also in the Caribbean, we eat a lot of like curry chicken, rice, all these foods that are high in carbohydrates. You know what I mean? And not a lot of leafy greens like in the main dishes. So those things. But I think the one thing that you address in the beginning that's really important is the timeline that I think a lot of us are not aware of. That perimenopause starts like 12 months before you even miss your period. So, you know what I mean? Like leading up to that too. And like your body's changing and noticing those things, right? So as someone like myself, who's, I guess, African American or, you know, a Black female with a lifestyle of my own, where do you start? Because you said you have, it's a lot of things. It's not just one, but I guess what are the stepping stones to changing your lifestyle, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the Caribbean has a lot of natural resources. So, you know, it's actually, right? I think you just have to clean up your diet. You start with the diet first, and then you need to have movement. I mean, those are the first steps typically. Look, it doesn't happen in one day or even,
It's not.
you know, right? It's a process. So where do you start, right? That's why we've created this whole self-care thing, helping women to where do they start. But just to give you an idea, start with simple, making small changes every single day. Start with adding some more, like getting rid of red meat, maybe. You know, I don't know if you eat red meat as an example.
I had to start eating more red meat. I was only eating chicken and fish, and that doesn't have a lot of iron in it. And because I'm going to be quite honest with you, Amita, I have fibroids. And so, yeah, I don't talk about it a lot, but I think like that too. Yeah. When I got that diagnosis, I'm like, really? You know?
Yeah, that's a tough one. See, look, you have a medical condition which needs medical intervention. But let's say hypothetically, if you didn't have fibroids and you were like in good health going through perimenopause, the first step is to cleaning up your diet. You need to clean up your diet, right?
Even with the fibroids, I mean, I could do medical intervention, which is what I've looked into. Obviously, that's how I know. But even with that, I have to clean up my diet too.
Yeah, that's very, very important. And then adding some exercise, movement, some kind of movement, right type of movement is important. Fibroids, you know, maybe consulting a naturopathic doctor. Maybe they, you know, a lot of naturopathic doctors that I have interviewed, you know, they also do fibroids. So I don't know what the system is in Canada, but consulting someone who can help you, you know, put together a holistic plan is what I'm saying. It's not just one thing, right?
And also sticking to it, making it a routine, and that's the thing.
Main thing is sticking to it. The problem is sticking to a plan. You know, I've made all kind of plans, but sticking to the plan, because after 2 months, I lose my weight. I'm perfectly fine. Then after 2 months, I don't know what happens. I'm picking up on some strange things like that are sweet, and I'm again bloated, and I'm like, oh, wasn't it looking perfectly fine? And now what the heck happened? You know, so I think all of us have gone through this problem, is having to what we can maintain and sustain. That is the hard part, right, for all of us.
Yeah. So, and you know what? I think we're talking more about the health part of it, but I think there's the person behind the company, and your company is called Nourish Doc, which is a great website, by the way. I looked at some of it and I'm like, wow, we have a specialist in many different areas, like a chiropractor, a naturopath. Like it's really, you really have put in the work, which is amazing. You know what I mean? Especially now more than ever, it's not just physical health, it's mental health too, that we are struggling more in North America, across the world, you know?
And 50% of women have anxiety or depression or even suicidal thoughts. You know, earlier it used to be a taboo to even talk about mental health, but we've normalized the mental health topic now, more or less, all over the world for that matter. And I think now it's time to normalize the perimenopause, menopause, you know, all these things.
And hopefully, you know, allow women to have time off and not feel guilty because they're struggling, right? But I want to know from you, as someone who has done the research and has struggled, when you look back to your own personal experience, what are your thoughts with this journey?
It actually impacted my entire, not only my physical health, my mental health, for sure. I was definitely depressed. I had definite anxiety issues. I'm not sure if I had suicidal thoughts, but borderline, you know, a lot of time depression, serious depression, dark thoughts, right? So how do you handle all this? How do you come out of right? That's the
Yeah.
problem. You have to be open communication. And that was what I never did. Like I said, I told you, I was holding on to everything inside my little thing. I'm like, I'm never going to talk about it. And that's the problem. It's not just me. A lot of women around the world, they want to project themselves as being almost perfect. That is how we've been brought up, right? Stereotypical, oh, you have to look the certain way, or you have to behave the certain way, you cannot show weakness, you are the caregiver. All those things are kind of fed into our brains when we are little girls. I'll tell you, irrespective of the culture, I literally, it didn't matter which culture women are coming from, most of the women feel like that. So that is the problem. We women have to shed our, those kind of masks, the superficial masks that we put on, and let people see, our loved ones or the family and the people who we are with, that we are going through some problems and we need help. We need to seek help. We need to be open communication. And that is the only thing I would say, and not feel, oh my God, what if I say this and that person's going to feel bad? It doesn't matter. You need to take care of that. And that's the fundamental issue I have with myself. And I decided to do that after 10 years of when I went through the journey. I never said a word. I kept going silent. That's not the right thing to do, is what I'm saying. You need to speak up, open up.
Yeah.
It's natural a phase of a woman's life. There's nothing bad about it. There's nothing wrong about it. That is just, all women are going to go through. All women are not going to get pregnant, but all women are going to go through this, whether they like it or not, right?
Yeah, even the periods, like we all go through the menstrual cycle as part of being a woman, right? And so, but you know what? I think I appreciate what you said there, because that hits home for me, because it's like you said, whatever you're going through, like when you suffer in silence, the only person suffering is you. And it's hard. Like you said, we have in many cultures, and I think not just in your culture. You're originally from India, right? So in many cultures, even in the Caribbean, like you said, many women, we always have to be strong. We always have to put our fist up, you know what I mean? And put on this mask, as you said. So it's very...
I think when we wear our makeup.
Yeah, right? You put on, like, you're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to show the emotions. Like, if you do, like, it's a sign of weakness, right? I think... like that with a friend during COVID, where she's like, I've never seen you cry. You're not an emotional person. And it's true. So when you have those moments, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. But getting back to this amazing website, you said there's an app coming. So tell me more. What?
Yeah, so people can find us at www.nourishdoc.com, and the app is coming next month, hopefully between the Mother's Day and the Father's Day. That's the intention. The Mother's Day is in mid-May and the Father's Day is in mid-June. So somewhere over there, we're going to launch the app and the web portion as well, when women will be able to log in and spend only like $5 a month. That's it, to start on the self-care journey. And then if they need any intervention, and most of them are all holistic experts, we'll have medical doctors as well, then they can get consultation or get a personalized meal plan or personalized holistic plan, even group coaching if they want to do it initially, affordable. All those things are going to be offered through the app. That's the intention, to start with super affordable, really cheap, so that everybody can get access to that. And then as you progress, of course, whatever the doctors, whatever the experts charge, we just facilitate that as a plan.
Wow, it's going to be great. So next month, I mean, and even the price, $5 a month, that's for what you get on nourishdoc.com. I mean, it's amazing. Like, to see a specialist individually is so much, but to have a digital platform where you can go online and get expert help. Not to say you still can't, I mean, it's not all in one. You still have to see your doctor, but at least you have other experts too that can help you.
At least you get some, even if you go to your doctor, but you have somewhere like your helper, right? To go, you can go access, you and see what other people are doing. Maybe there's a community of women who have fibroids as well. Things like that, right? It's not just you don't feel alone, and you have somewhere to go and for reference and for checking or what all those things, right? So that's really the intention.
Yeah. Well, I'm really happy that you made the time to talk about this important topic of perimenopause and menopause. Amita Sharma, and the website is nourishdoc.com, right? And you're on social media. What's your Instagram?
Yeah, it's we are everywhere. The Instagram is nourish_doc, nourish_doc. So, like I said, we are on all the social media platforms. So check us out everywhere: Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn. We're very active on these three platforms. Not so active on the Twitter so much, but these three we are posting regularly. When the app comes out, we will be announcing it as well. We haven't announced it yet.
Yeah, I actually saw one of your posts on Instagram. So I think you're on your way. I think one day at a time, one step at a time, you're helping women all with this.
Simple things. Yeah. We're posting simple things. And then we'll bring in, expertise, like simple tidbits that people can follow. That really is the intention. And when you start small, slowly, you start making the difference. So that's the thing. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amita. I think I will definitely have to have you back on the show to talk about some other things, I'm Carleen, and this is Diva Tonight with Amita Sharma. And send us a text. You can text the show if you found this topic interesting, or if you want more information from Amita. That'd be great.
Diva Tonight with Carleen will be back. Send us a message on Instagram at Diva_Tonight.